Squids are freaky as fuck.
Who goes there?
Okay, so this was at the start of last
That nightmare again.
end of last stream.
Need a drink.
We saw this. So we're building the
How
anti-Cthulhu.
do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
Your skirt just exploded.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
Sarah Hawkins was the object of a cult.
I saw people in hoods. They had stolen Mrs. Hawkins' paintings.
Who are you talking about? Why would they do such a thing?
I don't know, but they were a threat. They've taken over the
I'm
caves on the
confused.
mansion. They were performing some kind of ritual. One of the entryways was under Charles Hawkins' office.
We suspect Mr. Hawkins of being involved.
My patients believe the old islanders used to worship primitive sea gods. Could they be the focus of the cult?
Am I hearing this right?
So you think me gullible?
No, not at all.
What else did you
I'm
uncover,
so
Mr. Pierce?
confused.
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an
I'm
accident.
so
What
confused.
brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
That's what he would have you believe.
I have a hard time believing you.
You were there, Bradley. You even opened fire on him.
I'd remember that.
Why would he fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's
Is he...
That's possible.
Seems hard to swallow. Don't you have anything more concrete, Pierce?
to test psychology?
Bradley, what do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor, then,
Then what?
The rest is quite blurry.
Mm.
I don't recall how I came back home. I went to visit you at the hospital. And called on Marie's help to get you released.
I
Mm.
don't remember the events of the tunnel.
I don't. Let's talk about something else.
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins, and that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
A sort of
Sanders
crisis?
started screaming and convulsing.
Convulsing? That doesn't fit with his history.
Then his body got all crooked.
What in God's name? And you were alone with him?
He accused Sarah Hawkins of being the culprit.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here?
Yeah, well,
This makes no sense.
I
I
don't...
don't see
I
how
don't
it could help crack
understand.
the Hawkins.
Are we gonna get just
You really think she's involved? Could she
crazy?
have murdered Mr.
Does
Sanders?
she have...
Francis
Oh.
Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying.
Her pinkies keeps
It's no
soaking into her skirt,
You know,
so it looks like
Francis
she has three
Sanders is
fingers when
well-known
she's doing
on
like that.
I guess you can still pay a visit to his
You see
wife,
my hand there?
Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
Damn
If you
straight it
plan
is.
on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't
Husband's
agree.
dead.
She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
Let's stay prudent,
You're
I
right.
think.
Without a plausible explanation for what I saw,
Yeah.
let's not jump to conclusions.
Hey, your
That's
husband was
wise.
killed by a
Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow.
fish
Perhaps I'll
god.
find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Okay, I can talk to people
Let us
separately
go
now.
and learn the truth about what's happening on
Can I
this
talk to
island.
you?
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
Pierce, Colden, and Bradley decided to team up to solve the Sarah Hawkins case. They have a new trial to follow Francis Sanders, an art collector and friend of the painter who died in front of Pierce. The detective goes to his house in order to speak to his widow about the Shambler that the unfortunate man mentioned before he died.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins.
Do you think Edward goes for a run every time before the voice actor speaks?
You may.
Who does she remind me
Before we
of?
go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well,
Uh-huh.
look who's here. You know each other.
We met briefly. Time enough to iron out a few matters. The main thing is that we understood one another. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Is she
There you
like
go, Miss Baker.
Miss Baker?
This way, Mr. Pierce.
Catherine Baker.
And do
Is
make
that a name
yourself
we know?
comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me.
Yes, we do. Ooh, is that Catherine but Cthulhu on the painting to the right?
May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings.
So
Please
she's
forgive
probably
my
not.
tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
I was no longer there when it happened. I think
What
maybe
happened
that.
to your husband is terrible, Mrs. Sanders. But from what I saw, it was inevitable. The man I met yesterday had lost his reason. He suffers no longer, if you would allow me such a platitude.
Of course.
Nice.
Thank you for your kind words. Nobody in
Okay.
that hospital would have deigned to speak them to me. However, it will require more than that to soothe my mind. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
I share your grief, but I had nothing to do with it. The true culprit is Fuller. That's like... No, the
So
true...
ask
Yeah.
Fuller, he's the eminent doctor. But I would caution you, you'll find his treatments more terrifying than the illnesses he sets out to cure.
That churl no longer takes the trouble to receive me. He sends his secretary to tell me that I cannot see Francis. Me. His own widow. He must think that I am a terrible wife for having abandoned him in such a way. But I only wanted what was best for
But
him.
like,
I'm not here to condemn you, Mrs.
she
Sanders.
didn't abandon him. She
Oh,
couldn't
I'm
see
tired,
him.
Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Tell me about the
I
dimensionals.
deduce that your husband already mentioned this Dimensional Shambler.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it, I would urge you to make the most of your visit. Because I count on ridding myself of that thing as soon as I can.
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long. The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives.
Oh, the Shambler looks kind of spooky. Oh, a scene? Really? What? Tea?
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close.
Yeah, they
Friends,
were.
even?
Wait, oh, Sarah Hawkins. Yeah, friends. Friends, best buds.
A house of
It's
artists.
so laggy.
A house of artists.
Oh, that's not something I can actually search. Maybe I can search it later after I figure out what's happening.
Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler. Finally.
Finally, I have
Did
him.
Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting?
Obviously,
He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent
the
doom?
demon. Irene's like, oh no.
She first refused to sell the painting. How did that make her feel?
How did it make her feel refusing?
Was she jealous of Sarah Hawkins?
Jalos. That's not how you spell that, buddy. Oh wait, he tore out his eyes here? I thought it was in the hospital.
I need to see it.
Dear Madame, I acknowledge receipt of the letter in which you demand the body of your deceased husband. I'm sorry to inform you that I cannot agree to return his body to you. At the moment of his interment, you send a discharge allowing me to dispose of his body as I see fit. I extend my deepest condolences to you, Thomas Fuller. Breviary of Medicine. The second volume covers everything from gas gangrene to trench nephritis? In addition to a precise and detailed study, the book presents some avant-garde theories. The incredible complexity of this book reserves it for medical experts. Huh. More medicine progression. So we go to... Ooh. Oh. Okay.
Let's see what this cylinder has to say.
An audio
It's
recording
a
that Francis left for his
photograph.
wife. I'm gonna get yelled at when I start playing this, though, right?
I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes. I can't take anymore. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
That accursed gallery. Those accursed paintings. That accursed Sarah.
Yeah, you're right. She's gonna pay me to burn down the gallery after I'm done with it. But... Was it? There we
Was
go.
this dagger part of Sanders' collection, or was he seeking to acquire it?
I heard the tune in the background of the sonograph, and I was like, yep. Hello again, Cat. So the gallery's past his
I could
place.
use one of those.
Found the sleeping pills in the Sanders house. Were they prescribed to Francis or Irene?
A strange Amerindian pendant.
Is it Amerindian mean American Indian? Or is Amerindian a different thing? I don't know what its purpose should be. Would be. Could be. It's the work of a student in book form. Although the observations are relevant, they lack the expertise of an experienced physician. However, the questions asked allow us to imagine the new ways of exploring the anatomy. Okay. I don't really need to keep...
Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
This volume spent some time on Reverend Wickwood's community. His wife expressed her worry about the strange dreams that the Reverend's congregation are having since their arrival on the island. Some members of the community, her husband included, began to speak of their vision as a messenger sent by God. She is scared that they will suffer the same fate as the lost tribe. Key to the gallery. It's kind of an encyclopedia of monstrous and unknown creatures. I'm beginning to believe that they exist. Oh. So... Okay.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
I'm not here to cause trouble.
Yeah, I'm not here to cause trouble. I just want to look at a painting.
Worry me. Don't overestimate yourself. If the last beating wasn't enough for you, I can always give it another go. But as long as you keep out of my way, you're free to carry on with your visit.
Did you see the dagger in this
I
drawing?
found this drawing of a dagger. Did you come across anything like it in your reading?
Perhaps. I saw several daggers in the ledgers. I could always check. What I didn't find, however, was the slightest reason why I should help you, Detective.
I
Look.
don't need your services. I can manage all on my own, thanks.
If there's a literal cult on the
Do it
island,
then.
and Kat thinks that she owns the island, I honestly think that it could be a shitty joke like Cthulhu. But if it's not that, you
Strange.
should be telling...
For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing.
If she thinks it's her island and she doesn't know about the cult, she's your, like, that's how you get in with her, right? To go, hey, there's someone trying to undermine your ruling of the island. If you help me, I can try and get rid of them. That's how I would have done it, though, but I don't know. Dear Francis, I beg you to give up all hope of ever owning this accursed painting. If our friendship has any meaning for you, please spare me the weight of guilt. I cannot be the architect of your fall. Forget the Shambler. So I reckon the Shambler came after her, and it's kind of like a... Ooh, nice. Is that a person back there? They're like... I don't know what you'd call them, like cubist paintings. Really cool. And it makes me more... it reminds me of the second Atlantis movie as well, because they've got that very kind of square aesthetic to all the characters. Like, there is literally a Cthulhu monster on the docks delivering boxes, right, of drowned ships. Okay. A lot of creepy creatures. We got some sphinxes. That's very Cthulhu. Very, very not Cthulhu. Is that the dagger? Ooh, those are some tablets. Those look like the tablets from that new Amnesia game. Does that look like the dagger? Yes. That's another painting of the castle. Cthulhu's castle. More daggers, some masks. I'm assuming all of these are related to...
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times.
Like, I'm assuming a lot of these are related to other other Lovecraft stories. But I don't recognize a lot of them because they're, an artist's depiction of reading a book. I'm assuming those are just ghouls. That's probably the Void. What's his name? Nyarlathotep? That's the Shambler. The front and center of the exhibit. And this is where supposedly he tore out his eyes, right? So I reckon I'm gonna go crazy again, right? I reckon we're gonna get the gun after we go batshit crazy. Because I know we have a gun, there's a fire weapon mechanic in the controls, but we've never used it. And we're already up to chapter 6, so we're almost halfway through the game. I reckon we go batshit crazy. We start shooting the Shambler. Then the end of the game, we've killed the entire town of Blackwater. Maybe Cat stops us.
What the hell was that?
The Shambler, you fucking dunce! Ooh. Oh, no. That's how you do it. Did you see me? The fuck? That's fuel. That's fuel. I don't need fuel. Really? Okay, what's the goal here? No.
Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger.
Wait, what? How to use the knife? This one.
This dagger looks different.
Yeah, what? Just, I have to, like, what, go through? That's such a weird... That was a very bad... That was a very bad section of the game. And the cut didn't even work. Oh.
What's the matter with you? You sure you
Interesting.
won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
I
I
was
was
attacked
attacked
by...
by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
You knew. You knew about the beast.
I'm so
What are you
confused.
talking about? Think yourself lucky that I saved your hand, even if it was to save my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake.
Oh, we're
He's an
talking to
antique
Algernon
dealer
now.
in Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it.
Finally actually talking
From what
to
I
him.
saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
It's not your style to give me free information like that.
It's correct,
Take it
it's
as
not.
payment for being my canary. A simple trade-off. Now go see your antique seller.
Oh, maybe the painting has to affect one person. So she called us her canary, right? So I bird, I smell gas, I try and die. She do a hemkin cry. I'm not sure what that's about. Chapter 7, The Nameless Bookstore. The Shambler turned out to be much more than an artwork painted by Sarah Hawkins, as a huge creature came out of the painting to attack Pierce. After a hard fight, the detective sent it back into... It wasn't a hard fight, though. Like, if you were going for a fighting aspect with, like, the shooting and stuff, you should have gone, like, Resident Evil style, right? Like, you should have gone boss battle, shooting the big red spots kind of thing. Or at least explained how the fight works. Like, maybe you have to run away from the creature and stab it with 3 different types of daggers. You know? Because, like, even the game expected you to hide, but there was no need to hide. You could just circle the monster, picking up daggers and stabbing the painting. Right? I don't know.
Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. It's the work that laid the foundations of psychoanalysis at the beginning of this century.
Extra psychology book?
Where's the bookseller?
No, just medicine. A Puritan colony led by Reverend John Wickwood settled on the island during the 17th. They named the island Darkwater because of the dark shades of the sea. They believe it was because of the peculiar color of the rocks surrounding the island. The rare documents and handwritten notes they left spoke of nightmares and deviant behaviors. They disappeared. How did they disappear? So, like, there was a group of settlers who settled the island, and then, like, Americans moved in.
His wife's diary.
The pastor declared himself to be the prophet. He renounced God and worshipped a strange pagan entity with a monstrous appearance. His wife tried to reason with her husband, but in vain. He was convinced that he must listen to the voices in his head because it holds the truth. Oh, there's no chess puzzle? Imagine having a psychology-based game with 0 chess puzzles. I haven't needed the light, like the torch, yet. precise and illustrated with as much detail as the first volume, this book focuses on healing surgeries to fix malformations.
What happened here? Let's start over. Where did they break in from? Blood. Seems like amateur work.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
To whom does this footprint belong?
Algernon or his attacker?
No sign of struggle. If the burglar smashed this jar, it wasn't intentionally. Was he hurt then?
Unless a creature with less
What
motor
sort
control.
of thief leaves his tools at the crime scene? What killed all these animals? What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work?
It was the Shambler. Is that what the eye is? Is the eye for Shambler, or is the eye Cthulhu's eye? Like, Cthulhu the...
What the... Charles Hawkins?
Wait, what?
Looks like the symbol rejected Hawkins.
No, you can't just know that it was Charles Hawkins. What?
What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess? Sarah Hawkins helped hide something in this safe. Drake put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case.
I'm confused about the point of this. Is it like... I feel like there should be extra for reconstruction scenes. Like, this is done, but there should be more. But it feels like it's just click every button until you're out of buttons to click.
Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills?
The sleeping pills aren't sleeping pills. Or rather, they
What
are
link
sleeping
did you
pills.
find between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet?
The star, obviously. This key that bears the Elder Sign is the only one able to protect your psyche. It is in the form of a cylindrical medallion hanging at the end of a heavy chain. Hundreds of years ago, the star and the branch, whose purpose is to push back the forces of the Great Old Ones, were engraved at its center. Everything points to it being Charles Hawkins that tore it from its last owner, an Egyptian antique dealer. In press cuttings that mention the misdemeanor, the date of the robbery coincides with the last of Hawkins' trips off to Cairo. It remains to be seen whether he knows of the true purpose of the artifact. Wait, so it's supposed to push back the forces of the Old Ones? He clearly is the most affected by the Old Ones, right?
Drake left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe.
If somebody finds these, there will be no doubt that I'm in serious trouble. The last and only hope is that my body and bones are in this plane of reality, that they may be recovered and boned. The funeral urn must be given to my dear mother. Whoever reads these lines and demonstrates acuity as sharp as mine, is it acuity? I don't know. Can hope to gain access to my most precious possession. It lies within my safe, and the clues to the combination are to be found in 3 cylinders, each hidden where life and study combine in the Greek world. Cylinders where life and study combine in the Greek world. Each cylinder is numbered, even if, as the celebrated author says, order is the pleasure of reason, but disorder is the delight of my imagination. Indeed, despite my preference for organized chaos, I must admit that reason usually prevails in the end. If by chance a person, or should I say a genius, was to match my intellect and find the combination of the safe, I would ask that they deliver its contents into the safekeeping of my friend, Professor Armitage of Miskatonic University. The content of this safe is not only a vast digest of knowledge, but also a weapon that is far too dangerous for it to fall into the wrong hands. Okay, so 3 cylinders where Greek... What was it? Cylinders where Greek... Oh, I can do skills too. We have a lot of mental trauma. Unlock it all! Okay, so... where life and study combine in the Greek world. So, statues? Greek statues? Whoa, there's more books that I missed.
Editions. Never heard of him.
Collection of essays on American folklore and urban legends.
How many volumes are there in this collection?
Text comes in the distant past. Europe and the other continents were controlled by the mothers of this people. Their alphabet is derived from the Phrygian language.
Another volume by Arkham Editions.
It's a collection of texts on different beliefs. It includes a translation of the Emerald Tablet, popular text among 16th century alchemists. The body?
Cylinders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them.
Oh.
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets. I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny. Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me.
The Queen has little
Volume
protection.
9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my...
Here's the Grail.
The Chalice of Knowledge.
Since you're made of gold and decorated with real precious stones, the rubies and sapphires make a specific motif. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors.
And these red drops, like precious stones.
So I think that this is potentially 4, but maybe 6. I reckon this is
Chalice
3
of Knowledge.
or 1. So 3 or 1, 4 or 6, and volume 9.
Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection?
Whoops, that's 9.
Drake talked about a particular
That's
volume.
9.
So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message.
18? That doesn't make sense. Maybe just number 9?
Chalice. of
Maybe 1,
Knowledge.
2, 3, 4, 5? Maybe 5 rubies? Because it mentions the ruby specifically. So let's go 5, 4, or 6, and 9? $19.08. Maybe 8? Instead of 9? I mean, I can't tell if it's 4 or 5. I think it's 5. And this can be 4 or 6. The reason for that is those two aren't on the board, but they are
Queen has
standing.
little protection.
Or it could be 3 if we want to go with, like, the protection. Or there's, like, so many options that they've given us for, like, how to interpret it, which is annoying. So it's either 4 or 6. No, for this one it's 5. This one is either 4, 6, or 3 or 5. Right? It was 5. It was... They gave me so many options to choose from with numbers, and I had to guess, right? Which, when you're making a secret password for people to figure out, that's fine. But this is a game, and I need to be able to figure out with the tools given. And this is twice in a row we've had tools not be given to us, but rather... Sauron? You had to just guess your way through it. And in one of them, we actually just looked it up. A book covered in human skin. The Necronomicon. Wait, his mind was projected into another body? In the Riverside Institute? We sure that's a good idea? Game saved. I want to see the cutscene, of course.
This man's condition is deteriorating.
What says Dr. Fuller?
Where
What's his
Marie?
patient, after all?
He's busy with Captain Fitzroy. He specifically asked us not to bother him when that's the case.
Oh, of course. I'll see what I can do. Mr.
Oh.
Blake, can you hear me? I'm Dr. Colden. We'll take care of you.
There's nothing we can do. I tried talking to him. He's catatonic.
We go to main menu. Okay.